Word to your mother.
We're here.
What up, everybody?
It's going to be a great night. We got a lot to talk about tonight.
Sure do.
We have a lot to talk about tonight. There
are some
and share.
Breaking news is breaking whenever it feels like breaking.
There's some crazy stuff going on in the fishing world right now.
Man, Jim came right out of the gate. What's up, my fellow non-cheating fellow fishermen? Oh my God, dude, we are starting at 100 miles an hour tonight. What's up, Jim? Appreciate you joining us, brother.
Bringing it right out of the gate.
That's hot.
That
I
is
mean,
hot.
I mean, not like in a sexual way. Though, that's fast, dude. That's a hot take, dude.
Let me share this video real quick, and we will get into that because there have been a couple of arrests in the fishing world.
Yes, more than one, not just one.
Multiple arrests.
Oh God.
What am I doing here?
What is he doing?
I am sharing.
All right, so
Sharing, waiting for some peace to get up in this.
While we share and while we get everything ready, there's two arrests: President MLF,
NPFL,
and NPFL.
Yeah.
I thought it was MLF.
No, that's Boyd Duckett.
Oh, okay. So the tournament
Boyd Duckett
director
could get
of
arrested,
National
too.
Professional Fishing League
Yes.
has been arrested.
Yes.
Bombshell number one. Bombshell number two. Ben Milliken, who has been a champion for rules, regulations, and fairness on the Bass Elite Series, has been arrested.
What's up, Josh?
Yes.
Which is
So-
insane. It's completely mind-blowing. But we're going to talk about it. We're going to figure out what's what. Is it legit? Is it bullshit? We're going to go through it all. And then we're going to get into some cool stuff. So we have a couple segments tonight. The second segment is a buyer's guide for Christmas. I think it's pretty neat. And then the third segment tonight is do historical old lures, some of the classics, do they still have a place in today's fishing scene? But we're going to start with the arrest, and I'm going to let Paul take it over from here.
So let's talk about the big one first, with Ben Milliken. And I see douchebag, and I don't think
I don't
that
like his
at all.
attitude either.
I don't think so. Here is the situation that, from what I understand,
No.
it was
It's Ben Milliken, Josh, not Boyd Duckett. Ben Milliken, and then who's the NPFL guy? Do we have a name?
Brad Fuller.
Brad Fuller, not Boyd Duckett. Brad Fuller.
NPFL, not MLF.
It'd
Tony
be funny if Boyd Duckett.
I was wrong. I misspoke. I said MLF. It's NPFL.
Tony's
My
had too many
apologies. Yes, that is correct.
So
my apologies.
So the Ben Milliken situation, from what I understand, and take your make your own opinion. It was because he entered a fish into the ShareLunker program, which has a $10,000 prize, and at the time that he caught the fish, his license had expired.
That's
It's bullshit.
Is it
bullshit.
bullshit? Is it bullshit?
Yes, that's bullshit.
I'll come right out and say it. I fished without a license this year for 2 months because I just completely did not realize that my license expired.
Just to be clear, Josh.
One time I just didn't buy one.
Josh, we could be wrong. We said not Boyd Duckett. For all those that we're talking, it is Boyd. It is not.
I wish it was Boyd Duckett.
I know.
This would be much
It
more
is
entertaining.
not Boyd Duckett. So it's Ben Fuller from MLF.
Bullshit. What, Jim? Like, the situation was it was not in a tournament. It was in he was recreational fishing. Entered a fish into the ShareLunker program.
So let me ask.
He wasn't even fishing. He wasn't even fishing a tournament.
Anybody's license can expire, and I'm not.
Wait a minute, though.
Like, do you know right now, off the top of your head, the date that your fishing license expires? You can't go get it and look at it either.
May 27, 2025. Let me ask this question.
I do, because the DNR officer made me aware of when I needed to renew my license because I didn't have one at the time.
Let me
So it
ask
is
this question.
August 16th of 2025.
Let me ask this question. In what world? Now, I'm not a Milliken fan. I like the guy. I like what he stands for. In what world do you get arrested for not having a valid fishing license?
See,
That's where it gets weird to me.
And that's the part where I'm just waiting for more information to come out, because it doesn't make sense, because like, one, Ben Milliken has way too much to lose from his content to knowingly cheat. It doesn't make sense for someone to do that unless he's just the world's biggest dumbass, which I don't think he is.
I agree.
No.
I agree. I think he's.
He seems like a pretty, he seems like he's got a pretty good head on his shoulders, and understands business very well. And it can. I was reading some Facebook posts about it today, and some guys made a very good point that he's made a lot of enemies in Texas since he moved to Texas because of his YouTube stuff.
Yeah, they're upset that he's blowing up their
And
juice.
and I want to cite Paul's point that you made this point number of months ago, and I think you're right. The bass fishing community, and this is all of us, is full of bitches.
I don't fish
Like,
in the winter
we
because my
com-
vagina gets cold.
We complain so much, and we bitch about everything, and it's all of us, right? And
feel
some
like-
more than others, but we complain about a lot of stuff,
you
right?
find that in every community for everything ever. I feel
Yes. However, I think Milliken, and to Paul's point, I think Milliken's put a little bit
up,
of a
Jason?
target on his shoulders because he's spoken out against a lot of things, and
being
he's
a YouTuber and a hammer and catching more fish than other people.
he's put a lot of stuff on blast. Right?
I'm curious what Jim said about a fake or fraudulent license.
Is that? Yeah, I'm curious about that too.
Why would somebody do that though? Why would somebody have a fake or
It's like
fraudulent
it's
fishing-
like $50.
yeah.
Hold on, I can tell you what the Texas fishing license costs.
It's got to be what, $20?
It's got to be like, I mean, out of state, like a PA
What would
license,
be
like
the,
$50.
what would be the point of that? It'd be paid for by a sponsor, probably. I mean, God.
Hey, Waters, Jim Fallon says, maybe he thinks he's above everyone else? Maybe. I don't get that impression from him personally, but that's just me. Maybe.
I think it's extreme.
Maybe.
I just think it's extreme. I think dude forgot his license. Why?
I'm just curious if, like,
I don't even understand, like, why does him not
Dude,
having a fishing license even matter?
if you don't have a fishing
I
license,
understand
okay,
for the
but wait a
fact
minute,
of
though.
being
Wait a
entered
minute.
into the hold up. I understand for being the fact of being entered into a $10,000 tournament and you need to have a fishing license for this. I get that.
But why wouldn't you just be disqualified from the tournament?
Exactly. Why would
agree.
you not just
I
be
agree.
disqualified from the tournament?
I've never seen someone arrested
It's
without
happened-
a fishing license.
it-
Like, you get
so this
disqualified.
It doesn't make a difference of winning $10,000 whether they had a license or not. He was still gonna beat everybody or not beat everybody. It doesn't matter if he had a license or
if
not.
you get
It's not like
disqualified,
he cheated.
if you get disqualified, you're out. It goes to the next guy. That's it.
Right.
What's the?
It's happened. This has happened multiple
What's up,
times
Lil
in
John?
tournaments over the years.
Wasn't there somebody in the opens that was disqualified for not having a license?
NPFL?
And I thought it was on the Bay. There was
Thanks for the
somebody that
like,
was
Russ.
disqualified
Appreciate
for
it.
not
That
having
was
a
insurance.
license. It was insurance. Okay, sorry, it was insurance.
It was their insurance.
But the point's the same thing. It's kind of the same. It's the same concept, right? You don't. Either way, you haven't checked a box. That's a necessity for you to fish at some level. So if that happens, you get disqualified. Why did he get arrested? That's my question.
My initial thought is that it's because I know there are a lot of people in Texas that are not happy with Ben Milliken, and he's being made example of.
But why?
It went to
That would be
government. It went to government level for.
That's
no
what I'm
reason.
saying.
It
Like,
went to government level. For
you
no
could
reason.
every Texas fisherman could hate Ben Milliken, right? But like, you have to convince an officer of the law to arrest somebody.
Ben Milliken, Lil John.
How many of the maybe that officer of the law happened to be one of those people that he pissed off with his videos?
Maybe, but that's an infringement on. I don't know, dude. Like, we're getting into a deep
There's
a
a bunch of
loophole here,
hocus
but like,
pocus going on here. We don't have enough details to really say exactly what is what and exactly what
So-
happened.
So
More
that's the
information
second time
will
fake
come out.
doc.
Wait a
That's the
minute.
second time fake documents has come up.
I want to see. Yeah,
I have not seen anything about any kind of
But
fake
who
documents.
made fake documents and why would he do it?
That's a $1 million question. If fake documents. Okay, so here's why I don't agree with fake documents. Right, Ben Milliken has a lot to lose. Why would he fake a
So
fishing
what's the
license?
sec- over a $40 license?
I don't understand. That.
$40.
I don't get that.
Yeah, it makes zero sense.
I don't get that personally. If he was arrested, if he was arrested, to me, there's something more than a bad license, because a bad license means you're disqualified from the tournament and you're done. I've never seen someone arrested for a fake license. In Maryland, it's what, a $500 fine? In Texas, I'd imagine it's somewhat similar. So why would you get arrested? It doesn't matter what you're fishing. The charge is you have a fake license, you're fishing without a license, you get a fine for that. Why would you be arrested for that?
If
I don't
it's
understand.
different if there's fake if there's fake documents,
if there's fake documents, that has something to do with it.
you know.
But if you let's assume there's no fake documents. If you don't have a license, you get a fine.
Correct.
So why? Jason Bassa. Let me give some credit here. Jason Bassa is a monster right now on Conowingo, right?
Exactly.
And there's a reason why I'm not going to fish Sunday, because I know Jason Bassa is going to drop 20 pounds. I'm not on 20 pounds.
Gotta stay on topic.
So Jason,
Jason, we're gonna need to check your license.
Jason, you're killing it, buddy. I appreciate, like, what you're doing is awesome. It's, dude, more credit to you, because I'm not fishing because I know you're going to catch 20
What's up,
pounds and
Tyler?
I am on nothing. So, dude, I think what you're doing is awesome.
So
more
what did-
power to you, brother.
What did Jason say? Jason says charges were pressed doesn't mean he will be found guilty. Could be as simple as it is, and charge will be dropped. Texas boys trying to give him some heat. That's exactly what we think.
So an
pretty
out-of-state
much.
Texas fishing license is $58,
Why would, but like,
and he lives in Texas, so it's cheaper. It's going to be cheaper for
but
him.
why would you fake a license like that? I don't understand.
I don't
It doesn't
understand.
make
I don't
sense.
understand the claims of fraudulent documents.
And I haven't seen anything about fraudulent documents in my limited research that I've done on this incident, but
there will be more details
up, Tyler?
to come, and there's only so much we can even talk about right now because there's
Brian
just not
Dyson.
that much information. What's up, Brian?
so that's about all I'll say on the Milliken thing.
I agree.
We'll kind of have to wait until more information comes out to
Yes.
really form an opinion on that. To make an educated opinion on that. So let's
Yeah,
get,
and
let's
here's the
get
deal,
into
right? Innocent until proven guilty, right? Like,
exactly.
I like Milliken. I like what he stands for. I wouldn't call myself a fan of Milliken, but I like what he stands for, in that he calls things for what it is. I'm very curious to see what comes out of this, mainly because, excuse me, he's on the board of anglers in Bass Elite. And they just, like yesterday, they posted this massive thing about how they changed certain rules for entry fees and stuff like that. So it's very coincidental for me. You know, I $58 is not a reason for why somebody
out
would
of state.
fake stuff.
He lives in Texas. It's less.
I'm curious to see
Probably
what's
$25.
going on.
$40. I mean, let's say $40.
I'm very curious to see what's going on. I don't get it personally. Like I said, I like Milliken. I think he's a voice of reason. I think he's the average guy's like window to what goes on in professional fishing, honestly, at the Elite Series.
Because
at
he's
least.
not afraid to say what's going on.
Right.
Because
And
he somebody said the other day, Bassmaster needs Ben Milliken more than Ben Milliken needs Bassmaster.
I agree with that. I 100% agree with that. So, you know, in my opinion, I really need to see what comes out of this. I don't think Milliken's that guy. I could be wrong. I could very well be wrong, but I don't think he's that guy to go through this elaborate scheme that leads to an arrest. Just my opinion. I could be wrong.
See, I took that conversation completely opposite, Josh, when he had that spat with Randy Blockett on Bass Talk Live. Ben Milliken was making every point that needed to be made to what Randy Blockett has been saying for the last year and a half.
I actually want to put up a good point. Jim Fallon said maybe he lied about where he caught a big fish. Hey, Jim, if you fail a polygraph test, guess what? You're disqualified from the tournament. You're not arrested. There's plenty of people who have failed polygraph failed polygraph tests. They're not arrested. They are disqualified from the tournament.
I mean,
Shit,
if you're
even the guys
cheating,
that shove weights down in the walleye stomachs didn't get arrested
Yes,
until
they did.
later on.
Well-
it took them later on. They still
Yeah, but
they
I mean
drove away
that
from
was
the tournament.
that was
They
that
didn't
was
get
a slam
arrested
dunk,
then.
dude. It was a slam dunk case. They cut
It
the fish
was.
open and found them. I mean,
get it.
that
but
goes
they
more than
still didn't get arrested that day. They got arrested months later after they were tried.
So, I can't remember. I think I know there were cops there
right
that
back.
day, but
I'll be right back. Read it.
I've watched it a couple of times, Josh, and I don't like honestly like. If I was having that same exact conversation with Randy Blockett, I'd be a dick too, because Randy likes to throw a lot of stuff out there without providing any sort of evidence, and somebody needs to be a dick to him. because he's got too many Facebook fanboys blowing smoke up his ass, and he thinks he's got this giant head that thinks like he's
What's going to be
makes it seem like
fiery
he's
tonight?
God.
It's going to be a fiery one tonight, boys.
Yeah, he said it. He did say it was that the situation happened in February.
Tony's hammered. Paul doesn't like Randy. I'm actually not. I'm actually pretty sober for once.
So as soon as Tony gets back, we're going to talk about arrest number 2 that happened in the fishing world. And here he is.
Here we go.
Notice he gave you the left hand, so that means he holds with the right hand.
It doesn't really matter.
I do hold with the right hand. My right hand's stronger, dude. I gotta hold that. That's like a 10-pound lift, man. You gotta hold that thing up. You know what I mean?
No.
Yeah, I totally agree, Jason. Anybody called blatantly cheating, not breaking a rule, because there's a big there's a big difference between breaking a rule and cheating. You know, cheating is is more than breaking a rule.
I have a
you're
question.
trying to get ahead in the tournament, like let's say not fastening your life vest.
That's a rule.
You broke a rule. You didn't do something to get yourself ahead.
You know what I think's interesting, actually, and I was looking into this today. I saw an article actually on Wired to Fish. I can share it if you guys want. But is sinking brush piles a violation of law and rules?
It depends on where you're at, because some places it is a violation of laws. Some places it's encouraged.
Okay, so let's talk about Maryland for a second.
I don't know what the law is in Maryland.
I don't either. I'm honestly curious because I was reading an article on Wired to Fish today at lunch.
I've
and
never
it was
I've
talking
looked
about
for it.
brush piles. I was like, oh, okay, here you go.
I've looked for it.
It's interesting.
I've looked for that rule before. Like I can't find a law.
I can't either. So if you guys are out there and you've seen, if there is a Maryland law about brush pile sinking, let us know, because I'm honestly extremely curious about it.
But some places like
pretty sure it's legal.
like Alabama, it's encouraged,
Right.
Because it
helps the fishing.
creates-
It helps
creates
the
structure
fishery.
for the fish.
Right.
So it makes the fishery better. But there are certain tournament trails, if they have a rule in there that says you can't place artificial structure, then that's a brush pile.
Yeah.
You can't place brush piles. Is what it is.
So
exactly.
Jason says,
basketing
yeah.
guys combining fish, anything
That,
like that.
that's a no brainer. I
What
mean,
would be
that's a
guys
slam
combining
dunk.
fish? What would be,
like
that'd be
two
the
guys
best.
fishing a tournament, 2 separate boats. They don't have a shot in hell to against each other, but they each got
Yep.
2 big ones, right?
Gotcha. Yeah.
So they combine their bag and split the money or whatever.
Yep.
I don't think that's super applicable to us, though.
I feel like I'm not saying that's never happened in Maryland.
I could see that at the reservoirs, Jason.
I feel like if you get caught doing that, I'm with Jason on this one. Actually, even stiffer. Jason said 5 years, permanent.
Yeah,
Like,
I agree.
Permanent ban.
I
Like
agree.
if you get caught cheating like that, permanent ban. Like you should never be allowed to have a fishing license ever
Period.
again.
you should
in
not be
any
allowed to
state.
fish any tournaments
In any
like
state.
that.
And we've seen that. I mean, it has happened.
Yeah, we
never
have. We
permanent.
have seen it.
It's never permanent though.
No,
it's
it's
always,
not.
It's always 1 year.
Well,
2 years.
what
5 years.
was Mike Long's punishment for
That's.
that?
I was actually going to bring that up. I was like, how do you think Mike Long is showing up at the boat ramps again?
So that is the community policing itself.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Mike Long will
exactly.
not show up at a boat ramp because the community won't let him show up at a boat ramp.
I mean,
I feel like that would happen around here too, though. If that were,
see,
you know what I mean? Like,
yes, if it's clearly wrong. Like if you're a guy and look, if the law says it's okay and you're willing to spend the time and put some brush piles in, okay, big
It's
deal.
not like
the fish still have to show up on them.
if I accidentally
Like-
if I accidentally ran a 6 mile an hour zone.
Okay, you
Like-
broke a rule. Sorry,
But what if I
ran out of Maryland?
But what if I knowingly run a 6 mile an hour zone?
that's a different story.
should be fined?
So
You should be disqualified from the
Disqualified?
tournament.
let's say I fish the open. I fish the open on the bay. I launch out of northeast, and I run to the pond. I run the canals.
You're
Is that a disqualification, or should there be more?
It's a
Because you're-
disqualification.
or should there be more?
I think it's a disqualification because you can't prove that somebody knew or didn't know, right? I mean, like the buoys are there. If you didn't, like, You can't get in somebody's head without a polygraph and say that, oh, they knowingly broke a rule, right? Like, because the bottom line is with the opens in this scenario, the field fishes a lot bigger, right? You got people that have never fished the gunpowder that are going to go back and fish the gunpowder. They may not know. It's
Yeah, Joe, he did. He ran it. But that was a little different too, because that wasn't a marked 6 mile an hour zone. That was a 6 mile an hour zone that was placed for the tournament. So that was a tournament rule. He never broke a law. He just broke a tournament rule.
Let me say this, right? Like you fished the Anacoke a bunch of times. There's all kinds of 6 mile an hour zone / not 6 mile an hour zone.
It's crazy up in Broad Creek.
It is like you have no idea because Delaware sucks at marking 6 mile an hour zone. So if you break a 6 mile,
But here's the thing: when you sign the rule, when you sign off on the tournament, you sign off to abide by all state laws.
Correct.
That's your responsibility.
that is
to learn
absolutely
those state laws.
100%. Yes.
So
Yep, you're right.
if I go to a new body of water, like when I went to the Pocomoke this year.
Mm-hmm.
So I went on DNR's website, found exactly where the 6 mile an hour zones were, looked them up on a map, and know, okay, 6 mile an hour zone goes from here to here.
Did anybody get disqualified from that tournament for running the 6 mile an hour zone
What?
in the Pocomoke?
No. There wasn't a 6 mile an hour zone that anybody ran.
Sure.
But I'm just using
curious,
that. I'm just using that as an example.
Yeah. No, it's a good example.
Because it's the only real 6 mile an hour zone is like right by the ramp.
Okay.
So nobody's running that 6 mile an hour zone because there's no, it's not doing anything for you.
Right.
There's no benefit to it. But, just using that as an example, I was going to a new body of water that I've never been to before. I researched the law. What's my 6 mile an hour zones? What do I need to, what's A, B, and C that I need to know about the law? You have to. That's your responsibility to research the laws.
It's
But
no
that's what you're
different. It's no
supposed to
different
do.
than it's no different than when you get a handgun. You carry a handgun. You need to know the law state by state everywhere you go.
Agreed. Yeah. You have
Or
to. You
in
have
this
to do your
case, it's
research.
going to be lake by lake, reservoir by reservoir.
Right. I'm going to do the same thing when I go to Wisconsin. Before I go to Wisconsin, I'm going to research any laws that I can, based on Wisconsin, to make sure that I am familiar with the law in that area before I go and fish there.
Right.
So,
And John actually brings up a good point talking about the Haverty Grace 6 mile an hour zone. Like there is a 6 mile an hour zone in Haverty Grace that is not always marked. The markers are out there sometimes, but not all the time, and it's up to you to understand what those limitations are.
John, they are correct. The other 6 mile an hour buoy is out by the main channel buoy, and
Isn't that
depending
something new? They just did
2
that
years ago.
recently. 2 years
But
ago?
it's not. The markers aren't always there.
the markers are always there during boating season.
Correct, but not like right now. They're not there.
It's not boating season. There's no 6 mile an hour zone there.
Sure, but if you don't do the research,
That
right?
6 mile an hour zone ends on October 31st. So
It ends.
I don't
It
even go
actually
6 mile an
ends. You mean the 6 mile an hour zone ends? Not they don't pull the buoys in the 6
Correct.
mile an hour zone is still in effect.
it's a 6 mile an hour during boating season, which is from like March 31st to October 20th or something like that.
So I
Jim,
wanna-
you probably see that all the time down in Florida. People that don't know, they're coming from all over the place to go fish headwaters.
I want to read Jason's comment. So Jason says tournament rules are just disqualification. If you fish OB, I'm sorry, I don't know what OB means. If you fish OB,
Out of bounds.
okay, yeah, yep, absolutely, yep, thank you.
Off limits.
If you fish out of bounds, it's disqualification. Tournament director should put some sort of suspension in place for fishing out of bounds. I agree.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, we have heard, over the years, how many times have we heard of people doing well or winning tournaments out of Romney Creek?
Boy, we're really opening Pandora's box here.
I mean, I've heard it from.
People fish Romney Creek?
Yes, they're not supposed to.
Really?
Dude, it's not worth it.
I just
dude.
don't have the balls to
It
do
is
it.
not worth it. You can have your whole shit confiscated.
I
I
bro.
know
It is
that. That's why I
not-
don't do it.
It is not
I have,
worth it.
I've heard through,
There's a state record
over
in
the
Romney Creek.
past
God, yes.
that I don't know if the structure really benefits from it, but there could be. I mean, there could be a state record in the gunpowder for all we know.
Yeah, it's close.
There could be a state record anywhere. So I won't say that no, there's not, but we've heard over the years that this person went into Romney Creek, this person went into Romney Creek, and what makes it the last time that I heard of that happening and somebody fishing APG waters that are off limits, it was a draw tournament. It was a draw tournament. They had a rider with them, and the rider didn't report them.
I mean, yeah. The riders, that's your job as a rider.
So, and that makes it hard. Coming from a tournament director
I get
position,
it though.
So coming from a tournament director position, it's so difficult to make that needs to be, the rider needs to expect that they're going to get disqualified too, and they need to do the right thing, because you can't. So if I'm a tournament director, and I actually discussed this situation a lot last year when we had the national semifinal on the Bay that I was tournament director for. If someone goes to the gunpowder and they run the 6 mile an hour zone and their co-angler reports them, what do you do with that co-angler? Do you disqualify him? Because that co-angler benefited from them running that 6 mile an hour zone to get to the area they were fishing.
But they still had an unfair advantage.
Right. But they still,
decision.
even though it wasn't their decision, they still had an unfair advantage over other co-anglers in the tournament.
Agreed.
So
I'm not saying
they disqualify themselves. What's up, Kevin?
It's a tough thing for a tournament director to do.
Yeah.
Because on one hand, I don't want to penalize that co-angler for doing the right thing, but on the other hand, if that co-angler,
Little John, Romney Creek is strictly off limits. You cannot fish it.
If that co-angler caught all of his fish in that area that they accessed by running in, which gives you an extra 25 minutes to fish. If you say in and out, that's an extra hour of fishing time that they benefited from that, even though they're a co-angler and it wasn't their decision. That's where it gets difficult as a tournament director to make certain decisions, because I would almost lean toward I don't want to penalize that co-angler for doing the right thing, but that co-angler also benefited from that infraction.
Yeah, no, agreed.
So it's I would if I was in that position and I was the co-angler, I'd take the DQ.
Yeah.
Because
it's about integrity. If you don't have if the
What
tournament
the hell
trail,
is this? Kevin Moss Day 10 Krampus Kevin.
what the fuck is that?
What is this?
I will tell you right now. I have been.
It's just an ad.
I have a tournament trail that I fished this year had issues with integrity, and I'm gonna tell you right now, that trail is to some degree compromised because of what happened.
Look, dude.
And it's no one's fault except the person that compromised the integrity, right? The tournament directors are between a rock and a hard place.
You don't have proof, actual proof. What
Right.
can you do?
I agree.
If you come to me as a tournament director for Maryland TBF, if you come to me and you say, Tony fished in Romney Creek. Okay.
Where's your proof?
Do you have pictures? Did you take pictures of it? Oh no, I just saw him running from that area. Okay.
That can mean anything.
The mouth of Romney Creek's not off limits.
Right. Yeah, you're 100% right.
And 15, 20 years ago, there was a amazing grass bed at the mouth of Romney Creek.
Yep.
So
I agree.
yeah, Jason, I totally agree. Possibly refunding entry for the co-angler. I think that would be a good thing to do in that situation. Luckily, I never, I haven't ran into that situation. So I hope I never do, being tournament director, because it's a shitty situation, and that would probably be the one thing that would drive me to punching someone at a tournament.
Well, kind of like, what's his name?
I was leading into our second arrest in the bass fishing world, which is Brad Fuller. Brad Fuller being the president of the National Professional Fishing League, the
MMA Fighter of the Year.
the newer league, apparently got into an altercation with a couple of anglers on the NPFL at a diner after canceling the first day. From what I understand, an angler had posted a video that they weren't happy with the decision to cancel day one. They had spent a lot of money to come there and fish, et cetera, and sounds like they were just like venting their frustrations. And apparently Brad Fuller did not like that. That it's completely, Kevin, it's completely unprofessional, and
It is
it is not the way that you handle a business.
I agree with that.
If you
100%.
you can't take heat from a fucking social media post, you don't deserve to run that business.
Yeah, I agree, and again,
Because there's always going to be. Anybody who speaks out against him, is he going to punch him in the face?
I agree with you.
How
I
do
agree
you?
with you.
You can't run a business or a tournament trail like that,
I-
where you're now
100%.
throwing it out there that I'm gonna fuck somebody up if they talk bad about me. Now you're silencing all you're no better than Boyd fucking Duckett.
I'm sure there's probably
I
something
agree.
deeper that we don't know about that brought him to the point of throwing a punch at this guy's face. I'm not saying that that's right, but I'm saying there's probably been more in the past that we don't know about.
Absolutely.
That's led up to this.
Yeah, we don't know the anglers involved. We
Yeah.
know there was some situations with earlier this year with some anglers leaking video of like private meetings, like private angler meetings.
So,
And it's from what I saw of the video that was posted, it has nothing to do with it being they never said anything about Brad Fuller. They just, they were venting their frustration about the first day being canceled, that, and thinking, oh, I don't think it should have been canceled. We spent a lot of money to come down here, and like they just had an opinion, So I'm sure there's a lot more to the story. I'm just going with what's out there, and I'm not, again, same thing with Ben Milliken. I'm not, saying anything, bad about Brad Fuller. I'm sure there's more to it. Like, we just know that there was an altercation, and that he was arrested.
yeah, agreed.
I don't wanna
think
make
that's
any
all
opinion.
you. I think it's all
The
you
only thing
can
that I can
say.
say, like, I'm not. The only thing that I say is, that's not. It's very unprofessional.
It is.
Because you're always going to get criticism. It doesn't matter if you run a local trail or you run a professional level trail. You're always going to get criticism.
Jason.
I get it. I get criticism in the TBF.
Yeah,
It's a 20 person trail. And I have to deal with shit like that. And you know what? You let it roll off your back. Like, it is what it is. You can't let you go on. You explain, this is why we did it. If they're not happy with it, they're not happy with it. Like, that doesn't affect if they get mad at a decision that I make, that's on them. They got mad about it.
I can tell you
Ain't my fault.
when I used to fish the FLW College Series, and anyone that used to fish that's watching this, you guys will understand what I mean. The tournament director of the FLW College Series, I disagree with almost every decision he ever made when it came to weather or whatever. It's part of tournament fishing. If you travel, like in my case, dude, we traveled to Kentucky Lake, and it was a 2-day tournament. Both days were canceled at noon. Both days. I had spent 3 days of practice on the lake.
Right. You get
And
frustrated.
it sucks, but it's like
it's frustrating.
it is frustrating, but it's
Because
like, look, man, it's the
spent all
way it is.
You spent all that money to get there. You spend all that money in practice.
Yep.
And then they make a decision, they make a decision where, it gets canceled. Like, where, maybe you found, okay, well, I can't catch one big bag, but I can consider, I'm on Kentucky Lake, I can catch 20 each day.
Right.
I can't catch that 25-pound bag.
I couldn't do that, by the way.
I'm just, throwing it out
But
there.
you're absolutely right. You're 100% right.
And now, day one gets canceled. Now I'm frustrated because, okay, well, 20 pounds is going to get me like 25th place. If I can do it 2 days in a row, I might make the top 10. But now, I'm going to be way down in the standings because these guys are going to, a lot of these guys are going to blast them on day one.
Yep.
and
Yep.
you just get frustrated. And
yeah, I understand the frustration too.
I understand people venting their frustration. You know, you want to vent your frustration. You want to get on. You get online. You make a video and say, this sucks. You know, and venting your frustration and calling someone out. You know, that's different as well. Like if you're just on there venting your frustration, like
Yeah.
I feel like there's way too much drama in professional fishing.
if you get on there,
I agree with
There
that.
is just so much drama in professional
well,
fishing.
and I don't think
now, it's
venting
just-
your frustration, that's not drama, right? But if
No,
you get on
but
there and you start
somebody
bad
makes
mouthing,
drama out of it. People make drama out of it.
I think like venting your frustration, no drama. But if you get on there and say, Tony the tournament director, you like that a little alliteration there?
Why is it always me? God damn it!
Tony the tournament,
Titty face.
Tony the tournament director.
Hurtful. You
Tony
know
the
that?
tournament director, he's a dumbass, and there's no reason that he should have canceled this tournament. He has no fucking idea what he's doing.
Drop
Did
the
you
gloves.
lift?
Drop the
Did you lift
gloves.
leg and fart at me?
Yes, I did.
Why?
I was actually at Paul because he was calling me out.
Right?
The door's
So-
right there.
You know, you can't. You just can't.
Yeah, and I agree. Right? It's like
I agree, Jason.
I
But
think
that's
the tournament director.
That's the social norm now.
But the tournament
The
director.
social norm is to vent your frustrations on Facebook,
think-
on Facebook or on Instagram on a video.
It's the best way to reach everybody.
I think the tournament
that's the-
director has a thankless
that's just the
job no
norm.
matter what.
That's what
Whether-
people. That's what people do now.
Whether you're the Bassmaster Elite Series tournament director or whether you're the Conowingo Opens tournament director, you have a thankless job.
Oh, it's 100% thankless.
That's what, yeah, and it's like
If you talk to anybody that's been a tournament director in the past, that's the first thing that they'll tell you is it's a thankless job.
yeah, 100%. I
Because you
agree.
bust your ass to put on a good tournament, and there's always going to be somebody that bitches about something
Yeah.
you did or something that happened in the tournament.
Yep, 100%, 100%. I agree with it. I've run probably 2 or 3 tournaments in my day, and one of the first ones I actually ran was on Conowingo in like 2015.
John
And,
said he would pay to see you beating the tar out of another angler. Tony,
John, that has come so close to happening, dude. You have no idea.
why?
I don't
why
know.
Why do you want to see that?
it doesn't. It may not show on camera, but Tony's kind of yoked. I don't want Tony hitting
So-
anyone because
Titties,
he's got
grabbing
some
tits.
big old bitties.
So, but and in all jokes aside, like it's bad for everyone, right?
That was like dice.
If you get in an
one
altercation
of
with
those dice
somebody, if you get in like an argument with somebody, like just be an adult, be a man, and settle it. You don't have to cause a whole scene, right? I've been in altercations with people, some to the 10th degree, some to the 1st degree. If you figure it out and you move on and you leave it at the ramp that day, it's over. It's done, right? You move on. I think that bringing this to social media, in my opinion, is cowardly, right? Like, if Paul's a tournament director, if I'm fishing TBF and
I just
Paul's
don't
a
believe in
tournament,
putting all your personal shit on social media.
I agree. If Paul's a tournament director,
Some
and,
people want to put every detail of their lives on freaking.
and Paul makes a decision that I don't like,
I don't do that.
if
but
A lot of
Paul
people do that.
if Paul makes a decision I don't like, I'm not going to blast Paul on social media. I'm going to call him and I'm going to say like, hey man, look, I think this is bullshit, and we're going to
Imagine,
figure
like,
it out.
Imagine coming home from
Right?
a tournament and just having Tony
Right.
like smearing you across Facebook.
Dude,
for
that's
no
not a
reason.
thing, dude. Like, it's
Like,
not cool.
No,
Like,
I agree with you. And like I said, it was different. It's different between venting your frustrations and saying, "Man, I really wanted to fish I wish it wasn't canceled. I really wanted to fish today." Blah
Yeah.
blah blah. That's different than saying, Tony, Tony's a dumbass. Never
Right.
should have been canceled. He doesn't have any idea what he's doing. Yeah, there's a right way to do
to
that
handle
and a
yourself
wrong
and
way to
conduct
do that.
business.
Both sides need. We talked about professionalism.
Both,
and
yeah, I agree. Both sides.
need to be
Yeah.
professional. And
Agreed.
And smearing someone on Facebook is not professional.
I agree, 100%, 100%. Like I said, if you were running a tournament that I was fishing and something happened and I didn't like it, I
Thank
would
you.
call you and I would leave it that. We could agree at the end of the conversation or disagree. The bottom line is it's ending right there. That because it doesn't. my beef with you or
And no
with
matter-
or with whoever
look.
doesn't have to go outside of us too.
And I don't know, like there's nothing, absolutely nothing that could happen between a tournament director and an angler, in my opinion, that would ever warrant a physical altercation.
I 100% agree.
It's just bass.
100% agree.
It's just bass fishing. I just want to
100%.
say thank you, Josh Torres, for fishing said tournaments and being one of those stand-up anglers with integrity.
That being said, I think we've put this point to bed. We've talked about it for 45 minutes. Let's talk. What are we talking about? Buyer's guide,
Yes,
or are we talking
exactly.
about old school lures next?
Exactly, Jim. If you're going to vent, don't talk shit.
What do you think we should do now? What do you guys want to hear? Let's leave it up to the crowd. Should we do our buyer's guide now, or do you guys want to talk about old school lures? Do they still have?
I'm
place in today's
I am excited to
tackle
talk about
box?
both, but especially my old school lure.
I didn't prepare for the old school.
I have a good one. I think you'll like my old school
I
lure.
wish Rob was here because I know Rob would have a lot to say.
All right, so Jim says lures. So I guess we could start with that. John says flying lures. So we're going to talk about lures, I guess.
John also said the other John said talk about NASCAR, which we are definitely not doing.
No,
Here-
we're not talking about NASCAR.
So
John.
my old school lure that still has a place in today's scene, the Rapala original floater.
The original floating.
talk
yeah.
about NASCAR.
The original floater.
This shit bullshit.
I
I love
welcome,
you,
Clint. Thanks
up,
for joining
Clint?
us. I think the Rapala original floater still has a very significant.
I got a couple.
I think it has a significant, the varying degrees of how significant, but I think it has a significant place in today's fishing industry, and I'll say why. Right, we fish a lot of grass.
I got a couple in my box.
So right, and like we fish a lot of grass. If you have, let's say, 2 foot of grass in between the surface, if you have 2 foot between the surface of the grass
let's-
and the surface of the water,
Can we take this back for
Sure.
just a hot second? So what we are talking about are old lures that have fallen out on the wayside.
yes,
That are still relevant today.
right, agreed.
So, just to give you guys some context of what we plan on talking about, John, NASCAR turn left.
I say the original floater, dude.
So the original floater. That's a good one.
So and
definitely agree.
and I say that because the original floater was a do everything lure in that so many lures have come from the original floater. The jerkbait obviously came from the original
The
floater.
original floater.
The
The original
crank-
floating Rapala.
the crankbait
Rapala
came.
minnow.
And
Okay.
so we talk about Megabass, right? Like everybody's copied a
Those are
Megabass.
wooden, aren't they?
Balsa.
Originally, yeah, they were balsa.
So everybody copied a Megabass. Well, back in the day, everybody copied an original floater.
Well, where do you think? I mean, where do you think the jerkbait designs came from?
Exactly.
Every jerkbait that is on the market now
He said beetle spins.
can, take its roots to the original Rapala floating minnow and some other older baits. That
Well, and even then, I mean, like it's not necessarily the original floater, but the Husky Jerk was an original floater that's suspended.
yeah, that didn't come around till like the 90s though.
But still, it was in terms of now, it's groundbreaking, right? So
Yeah, but like Megabass was already out by then.
yeah, but
not a lot of people knew about it.
but the
Megabass was out.
110 wasn't.
Yes, it was.
Megabass has
The
been around
110?
for a while.
Yeah, 1995.
The 110.
Yes.
Well, I'm gonna fact check them.
Megabass been around for a while.
That was in that article that I
Was it
posted
really?
in our group chat. Yeah.
Fair enough. But my point is, I think the original floater is still relevant today, right? And the reason I say that is like in our area specifically, we
Megabass
fish a
been
lot of
even-
grass.
even longer.
Like we fish a ton of grass. So if you have a scenario
90s.
where you got a foot and a half or 2
90s.
feet in between your top of your grass and the top of the water, that's your weightless fluke. Like like everyone throws the caffeine shad now, right? Tie on the original floater. Work it like an erratic jerkbait over top of the grass. You'd be surprised at what you can do. I can't tell you how many times for smallmouth I have that too. I have fished the original floater just like a crankbait. Throw it out, crank it in, and catch big fish.
I mean,
Like, it's awesome,
I can,
dude.
I mean, I can't tell you how many fish that I've caught over the years on a floating Rapala, twitching it on the surface.
Oh, it's awesome. And it's cool. It's cool to do it with the old school.
You know, you twitch that. I mean, I've fished a floating Rapala since I've known how to fish. Right?
Megabass founded in 1986.
There you go. So
That's pretty cool. I like that.
if you give it that jerk and it kind of just like pops under the water a little bit and then comes up and floats on the surface, man, Dude, you get some. Dude, I've had some crazy creek smallmouth blow-ups.
Here's a good one. So we talked about that, but I think you would appreciate this: the spinnerbait.
So the spinnerbait, kind of the original. I mean, that's like one of your original power fishing baits.
Yeah,
and
100%.
The advent of the chatterbait really kind of put it to the wayside for many years, and now
It's kind of coming back
now
a
it's
little bit.
a lot. It's coming back a lot.
Big time. I'm
Big
finding
time.
myself throwing a spinnerbait more now because I don't know why, but I've just found the past couple years that the chatterbait bite hasn't been the same in my mind, which makes me pick the spinnerbait back up again.
And it could partially not be in your mind too, because
If
how many
everyone's
people-
throwing a chatterbait,
how many people throw a chatterbait? If they've seen 100,000
Who
chatterbaits,
doesn't have a jackhammer title?
exactly. So there is some. You'll notice that if you look over the last 20 to 30 years, there are ebbs and flows of when certain baits
yeah,
work. When they get popular, some people win some tournaments, then it goes down and something else becomes popular. Then when that comes on, something, and then you'll see that other bait, that bait from like 15 years ago comes back up and people start winning tournaments on it again, like the spinnerbait is now. So I got to think about this for a second. So my old school bait, that still has a place in fishing today.
I think it's. I mean, I don't know that I agree that like the original Rapala floating jerkbait is going to just like come back and be the most popular bait.
No, but it
again.
definitely still has a place.
But I feel like they could definitely still be used. I feel like there's a lot of baits that I feel like baits are rotational.
Oh yeah, 100%. That's what I meant with the ebbs and flows, right?
There's you have ups and downs, just like the stock market.
And some of that is
baits are rotational.
some of that's here.
It's a lot of it's
A lot of
here,
it's here.
and I feel like a lot of it's based off of pressure and what the fish are seeing a lot for the past so many years. That
Are you reading my mind, John?
yeah,
Because I was thinking of that.
exactly.
But
old
yeah,
jitterbug.
it's definitely
Grab me a beer, please.
like Jim said, the fish see the same baits every day, so older baits that people don't use anymore, becomes a little bit better because they haven't seen it. Absolutely. I would say that and this is
Yep, I that's what I think we're seeing. I personally think that's what we're seeing right now with chatterbaits.
Yeah, 100%,
and-
Jason.
And going back to spinnerbaits.
I'm gonna
I think
go
there's
with
influx in that.
Jason
so
the
here-
Wingo Hammer tuning in. I love it.
here's some, this is not really something that's not.
These get hot and cold. I think generations of fish get conditioned to them. That's why it comes and goes.
the popper.
I was gonna say the same
Ooh,
thing.
you know
I
what?
really, I
That's-
was gonna say
yeah.
the same thing.
Popper.
And the reason I say that is because let's think about how many topwater baits are out there right now. Like how
I think
many
it also
walk-
has a lot to do with your forage, and well, not your forage so much. If there's grass and whatnot.
But how
You're
many-
throwing a popper where there's a bunch of grass?
how many baits out there are like
If it's
major?
not topped out, then
But how many
sorry,
baits out there right now are like majorly advertised baits that are just a popper? Everything like the shower blow is a good one, right?
Nobody
Now,
is
is it
just
be-
dropping a new popper.
So, but
That's what I'm
is
saying,
is that because we reached the apex of what the best popper is? Because everybody throws a Rico.
Yeah.
God, shut up.
Everybody knows about the Rico, Chad. No, it's not a secret. Everybody knows about, everybody throws a Rico. Oh, the old torpedo, yeah. Gotta love the torpedo.
That is an old
Everybody
school.
throws a Rico. Why don't I see more of them stuck in trees? I don't
Because they're
it's always
25
junk.
because
they're
they go get 'em.
$25. They go get them.
Yeah, because they go get them.
I need to start finding more expensive lures stuck in trees, guys.
So, they're not necessarily all the same design because different poppers will do different things. They have different
yeah.
sounds. Some
They're
walk
weighted
better.
differently.
Some pop better.
The cup
so there's
of
a
the
lot
mouth will change the action of a bait
100%.
completely. Also, it changes the splash.
Changes
it
the
changes your
sound.
bubble trail.
Yep.
I mean,
Lots
the
of difference.
design of a popper changes a lot of different things.
I mean,
wanna
you
know
go
a
with the
popper
Mega
that I really actually enjoy throwing a lot.
This is the Pop X.
No, It's the UMA Lures balsa wood popper.
Oh,
True.
I haven't turned it a lot. I've
So,
turned it a little
dude,
bit.
UMA's popper has a very large cupped mouth.
Yes,
And
definitely. It throws a lot of water.
It moves a lot of water. It's decently light.
Can't swallow though.
It walks as well.
Yes,
It walks decent too if you get used to
on
it.
the show, Chad.
Oh, there's a bear.
I feel like
There's my bear.
I feel like if you know how to walk a bait, you can walk just about any bait that floats on the surface.
Pretty much, yeah.
You just have to realize
Chloe.
you have to change it. But
Come on, get down.
yeah, just a straight popper. The P70 popper, one of the best. Had to shave a little bit of the lip off, but the P70 popper was good. But I mean, I still throw a popper pretty frequently. Poppers are a big, they've been a big thing on the tidal waters for a long time. Back in the day when Justin Lucas won the Elite Series on the Potomac, Brent Ayler was throwing a chatterbait and a popper. That was like his two main baits in that tournament. So it's not like it's something that's really a secret. I just think a lot of people don't throw it in. They don't throw it anymore. I've had people that I know that when I say, oh, I was throwing a popper, and you're like, you throw poppers?
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Like-
Yeah, I get that. Yeah.
I was just throwing a popper. Like, who throws a popper anymore? Like, well, I do. But yeah, you can't. There's definitely some old lures that are out there that.
Oh, Clint brings up a really good one. Are we allowed to talk about that?
No.
I will say there's a lot of. We won't say it because I throw that. There's a lot of lures out there that, that imitate that one.
Do you want to get into we could get into the intricacies of why a double stamped man's -1 works better than a new -1.
But you just said it. You just said we can't talk about that one.
But yeah,
We kind of spilled the beans on it at this point.
yeah.
Let's
we can
talk.
about it.
Let's talk about it, but let's not say when. Let's not say when.
So the man's -1 is a very shallow running crankbait. That
Clint, that's a great comment. You're absolutely correct. That is a great bait.
it's a fantastic bait.
Ooh,
Shallow-
wow, I love that.
Shallow running crankbait, good around grass, good in the shallow tidal waters. There are differences between the original -1 and the new -1. I didn't see that, Dan. I'm
Did
sorry.
not see that, Dan.
So your -1, we won't get into the differences, but there's definitely a difference between the older ones and the newer ones. Unless you want me to.
Well, once again, UMA Lures must be on top of the lure trending thing because he also just dropped -1 style bait.
Yep. Yeah,
Which is
Tower
available on-
makes a really good -1 style bait. That subsurface shallow running crankbait. Very, very good bait.
6 inches to a foot,
And
maybe.
I think that the modern version of the -1 that everyone's been throwing is a hybrid hunter. Everybody throws the hybrid hunter. And
Not even close to being a moderate -1.
Yeah, but
Yes, for sure.
Yes, but it's what a lot of guys throw in place of the hybrid,
But
the
it-
-1.
It's completely different.
Yes.
It's a different bait.
Yes,
It runs 3 to 5 feet.
Do me a
Does
favor,
it run that
everybody. If
deep?
you're
Yeah,
watching
really.
and you like the show, hit that like button and the share button, please.
I don't think it
The
ran
min-
that deep.
The -1 runs deep. Like it's not just a subsurface bait. I mean, if you fish it on 12-pound line, like it's no difficulty to get it down 4 feet.
Jason said.
And that's the smaller one. The bigger one runs a little deeper.
Jason said, "Man used to have a hollow body fluke that was stupid, and then they put the hard nose on it, and it sucked."
I hate when hate when companies do that. Like they change one little thing
And it
about their
sucks,
bait, and
yeah.
it just ruins it.
Yeah, I agree. That's a good comment, man. We appreciate that. Silver Buddy. I think the Silver Buddies. So the
Around here, so around here and up north, Silver Buddy, everybody still uses.
But who's throwing an actual Silver Buddy? Or are guys throwing improved versions of Silver Buddies?
The guy who won the tournament last weekend.
But are they throwing silver buddies or are they throwing the Damiki Vault?
Silver buddy.
Really?
Yes.
That's pretty cool.
I don't throw the Mickey Vault. I throw a silver buddy copy.
The Asian Persuasion?
I refuse to throw silver buddies. I would rather go out there and flip a freaking Z-Man mushroom head jig
Really?
around all day long. Throw silver. I hate silver buddies.
I don't mind silver buddies.
I don't like it because every time I throw the silver buddy, I'm cold. So it's like, damn.
And
it
dude,
sucks.
I will
true, too.
admittedly say that I miss out on catching fish because I just refuse to throw them. I just hate them.
You lose a lot of fish too. And
Yeah.
Yeah,
I
you
hate
definitely
that.
do.
You lose a lot of baits. They snag real bad. They get hung real bad because it's an open trub that you're pretty much bottom bouncing.
Yeah. I've found ways to.
Especially around here under docks and shit, catch a lot of freaking ropes. And,
I found if you catch ropes and stuff, you can't you can't really avoid
it's
it.
done.
But when you're fishing on like rock and stuff like that, around hard bottom,
If you have a lure retriever, it'll come out.
they definitely catch fish.
or you fish a hook that you can bend out.
Dude, I will say, I'm going to tell you right now. So I fished with Craig Gordon, a friend of the show, a couple weeks ago. We fished on Liberty. He actually has a retractable lure retriever on like a spring-loaded spool. Made a believer out of me instantly. Like I was getting jigs stuck in like 25 foot of water. He sent that lure retriever down, pop free every single time.
Get yourself a retractable dog leash.
It was insane. I was like,
that
holy
pole
shit.
retriever that me and you got has saved
I've paid for that thing like 6 times.
so
over.
many times. Yeah. And what do we pay for that? Like $75. $35.
Yeah, they were 40% off or something.
I've saved so many of my lures and Scuba Steve's lures. I haven't actually saved any big swim baits with it yet. But
Dude, the lure
I've saved a
retriever
lot of crankbaits.
totally made a believer out of me. Especially, I mean, if you're throwing like $15, $16 baits.
I mean, dude, this thing extends out 15 feet. It's not the thing you slide. That thing is junk. Whatever you slide down the line, it's got the little weight on it. I've tried using that. It gets tangled up. It never goes all the way down there. It let the little string spirals around your line.
What's up, Andrew?
Andrew, what's up, brother?
Yeah, that's
Brother.
just gonna point that out there for you.
Got the old tactical.
Oh, dude,
fishing
that's
company.
cool as shit. I didn't
That's a
realize you had
sick-ass
that hat. That is
It's a
sick.
sick ass hat.
So
If you make one in tan camo, Andrew, I'm 100% in.
I've
Just
said this
saying.
like 9 times now, but we need to get this dude on the show.
old back to the old lures conversation. So we have the man's baby -1 and -1. We had the original Rapala, the old
spinnerbait,
the old
yeah.
score Popar,
the spinnerbait.
spinnerbait. You got any old lures that in your world, in the swim bait world, like any like old like original
Man, dude, there's
swim
some.
baits, like the AC plug and
I don't know about nothing in my thing that's like OG, but I still throw MS Slammer. Slammers are pretty OG. My one from downstairs is actually from 2007.
I guess you could probably call Huddleston's pretty OG too.
Huddleston is the OG. Is an OG.
Definitely still catches
I
fish.
have Huddlestons. I don't throw them too much.
I'm going to say it. You guys are going to laugh at me. The Banjo Minnow. I'm sorry, dude. I've caught a lot of fish on the Banjo.
I always
John
wait.
says
So
the
that's
OG
not just
the
a running.
OG The OG Gambler Ribbon Tail. My man.
Yeah, but
Like
that's
the
like the
original
culprit
ribbon-
worm. The culprit worm, same kind of thing. I throw a lot of worms like that. I won't tell you which one, but I throw a lot of worms like that, and I catch a lot of fish on them.
John, 2 weeks, man. Cannot wait to be
love
making
'em.
that trip up north. It's gonna be fun.
So what were you saying?
The Banjo Minnow.
Banjo Minnow.
Yeah,
I love that thing, dude. I swear to it. I'm telling you.
Look,
It's a soft jerk.
it's a soft jerk bait. Like it's going to
It's gonna exactly.
it's a nose hooked soft jerk bait, which is something that people do anyway with Zoom flukes,
Yep. Yeah. No, 100%.
especially on like your herring lakes.
Yep.
A nose hooked Zoom fluke,
Yep.
it catches fish.
Caught a
Like the
7-pounder
Banjo
on
has
it
a
in Deep
completely
Creek.
Different action than a fluke.
Not if you nose hook a fluke. Nose hook a fluke and start twitching it through the water. See what
It has that snake action, like when you swim it and stuff, dude. It's pretty wild.
It's pretty cool. Yeah, Banjo. Hey, Miles, what's up?
Miles.
So that is all we have for our old school lures. We're gonna move in now to something that I've been looking forward to because it's Christmas time and everybody loves getting great gifts.
It's time for the buyer's guide.
Nobody knows what everybody's spouses. They never really know what's what to get. So here's some ideas to put on your Christmas list, for a good Christmas gift that's a good deal that you'll get a lot of use out of. And the first thing that I'm going to mention is rain gear. A good set of rain gear. And what we pulled up is probably the best value for the money. And that is now the Cabela's Guideware. They stopped making the 100 mile per hour, but
Did they really?
Yeah.
Okay.
Because they just have the Guideware, same company, so why make two? But it is a $200, $180 at the moment because it's on sale, which means I might buy a new set of rain gear.
Phenomenal.
So you have a $179 jacket that's Gore-Tex. Gore-Tex. Just putting that out there. It's
Gore-Tex.
Gore-Tex.
100% waterproof.
It is the best
Not resistant,
fabric,
waterproof.
the best waterproof fabric on the market.
Different colors.
Yep, you can get it in red.
Why did it do that?
You can get it in
that's
red.
kind of nice looking.
You can get it in black. You can get it in green. I love the green, except
Oh, I do like
except
that.
the bibs don't really match
Really?
because there's only one color in the bibs. But
Well, that's lame.
yeah, if they had like green bibs, that'd be cool.
That
That'd be
winter
super
moss
cool.
green is sick. I like that.
But yeah, the Cabela's Guideware, super, super good. I mean, to get a comparable actual Gore-Tex rain suit, you're looking at $300 minimum per piece. Minimum. If you look at Sims, you're talking $450, $500, $600 per piece.
Wow. That's a lot of money.
For actual Gore-Tex. If you look at Grundon's sells Gore, I think Grundon sells Gore-Tex, $500-$600 per piece.
That's how Johnny Morris taps into the industry real good, though. He can afford to do that through Bass Pro Shops.
For sure. I have a pair of Bass Pro Shops Gore-Tex, or a set of rain gear.
I don't
that
know if
I've
the
had-
craftsmanship is exactly the same as, like, say, Sims or.
I've had mine for.
Dude, even FX has some really
So,
nice shit out now.
I've had my Bass Pro Gore-Tex rain gear for almost 10 years. Still fantastic. There's not a tear. The only wear on it is like the back of the leg of the bibs, where it gets under your shoe and stuff like that, which is going to be expected. It's not that's going to happen with anything, but it's comfortable. It is. They are. So anytime you're looking at Gore-Tex, remember it is heavier, so it's not going to be like summertime rain gear. If you wear it in the summertime, you're going to lose about 50 pounds because it's warm. So, but it's your fall through spring rain gear, when it's a little cooler out, if it's below, let's say if it, like 70 degrees and below. What's going on, Mr. Aarons?
Thomas, what's up, brother?
So
You want a link, buddy?
that's my pick for,
He said, what's up, bitches?
my pick for, your gift idea this year. Some Cabela's Guideware, because it's a great deal at $179. It's going to keep you dry, and it lasts a long time.
I have a pair of assless ones, but
That's only for fishing with the
Oh my
Paragon.
god. That's fantastic.
Awesome. That's fantastic. So yeah, that's my what I'm throwing out there. I noticed these were on sale today, so figured I'd let everybody know. They're pretty good quality. They last a long time, and they do. Most importantly, they keep you dry.
let's see. I am sending a link over to Tom right now. So give me a second.
rain gear is important though, because
Super important. Because
I do want to say this, right?
not everybody's like Tony, who just goes out there in like a hoodie and gets soaked and doesn't
You
care.
do, dude. You literally, it'll be like dead winter. Tony will just be standing there soaking wet
In like a
pair of
fleece
fucking,
hoodie.
dude, sweatpants
and a fleece hoodie.
Crocs that have a fleece lining.
Yeah.
Keeps me warm, dude. Cold
And
is
that
a
is what
state
this
of
dude will
mind.
sit in. He'll sit in a freaking
it's
a
literally-
Carhartt jacket.
It's literally a physical thing.
Cool.
It's not a state of mind.
It's a state of mind. Anyway, that being said, I do want to mention, because we're talking about cold weather gear, right? It is important. We did have a waterfowl hunter recently in Maryland pass away.
I
Oh,
heard
that
about
fart
that.
stinks.
That was bad timing, bro. What? Damn.
Yeah, that was bad timing.
But I will say, in all seriousness, right? Like, we did have a waterfowl hunter pass away very, very recently. And the community, the waterfowl community came together and unfortunately found the gentleman deceased. That being said, I do want to say, like, yeah, so we joke about it, right? Like, I'm old school and I'm hard-headed when it comes to wet weather gear and cold water. But, like, when you're out there on the water, especially this time of year, like, bad things happen exponentially quickly when you're wet and cold. Please take the time to prepare yourself. If you are going out, have a change of clothes, have some wet weather gear, have some cold weather gear. Plan for the worst. If you go out there and, like, imagine you are going to fall over the side of your boat. What happens if you fall over the side of the boat? Are you prepared? If you're not prepared, you're wrong.
Do you know how to get back into your boat?
That's a fantastic
Do you
question.
think, because I can tell you that if you're in
It's
cold water,
not easy.
you're not pushing yourself back up on the deck.
Yeah, 100%.
You know,
It's
you
very
need
important.
to-
It's very important.
You have to know how to. Well, you have to have a plan and know what you can do in that cold weather.
What is going on right now?
So, like, if you're
Is
a
Tom
kayaker,
frozen?
like I know Jason's a kayaker, and he says he has special gear for winter. If you're kayaking in the wintertime, you should have a dry suit,
Yeah, I agree.
because bad things happen more frequently on kayaks because boat wakes and things like that can catch you off guard, and if you fall in, especially in the wintertime, you have a very limited amount of time before hypothermia sets in.
Just make sure you're prepared out there. Cold, like, it happens fast.
Wear your
dude.
life vest.
Like, I've
Always.
seen guys in my experience in various things get hypothermia, and it happens fast. Make sure you're prepared. Seriously.
I wear my life vest 24/7 in the wintertime. While I'm fishing, while I'm driving the boat, because that cold water will shock you when
Yeah.
you go into it.
It's bad, dude.
And
It is
your
a serious
first,
thing.
And your first reaction is to breathe in.
Yep.
We have Tom on the other line, but really quick before we bring him on, I do want to just finish our buyer's guide thing before we bring Tom on.
Yeah, sure.
Because it is going to, we won't be able to do it with him on the other line of it. Really
Sure we
quickly
can.
though,
We can get his ideas on stuff.
we can get his ideas. I don't think I can bring him into our little thingy.
Oh, because of the
right.
camera
we're,
stuff.
we're sharing the camera thing. But anyways,
Thomas, you said you have a little thingy.
really quick.
Oh dear.
We for my idea, man, I wanted to talk about fishing scales. The Bubba scale, the Rapala scale. I think that would be a fantastic idea. Something that I also need to upgrade myself. A lot of us just
I might have to pick me one. It's on sale too.
that's what I'm
I'm about to spend a lot of money on
a
Bass Pro.
lot of us have just those normal cheap $20 freaking Cast King scale with a little hook at the bottom of it that just gives you that little Tony, beer time.
Oh dear.
That just gives you your one weight and then it's done. Makes it hard to kind of keep track of what you got going on. The Bubba scale will keep track of your best 5
Give me
fish.
Bud Light.
Might be the last one.
That is the
Oh,
last
that's the last
one.
one. No, I'm
The Bubba scale will give
these
you.
things taste like shit.
They do. It's like water.
It's not even like water. It's like sour water.
You can keep track of your best 5 fish. Keep track of the fish that you need to call throughout the ones that you're catching. There's also an elite scale version of the Bubba scale that has
got some Bluetooth action.
yeah, some Bluetooth action.
Can we-
And
can we-
for this as well? I'll just throw this one up.
Can we hit mine briefly before we bring Tom
I
in?
just want to throw this on here. the Rapala is your other option. You have the Bubba scale, or you have the Rapala. The Bubba is on sale right now for $79. The Rapala is $60.
I like my Rapala.
I have nothing against Rapala. I would personally probably pick up the Bubba just because it's the new hype.
Yeah, I've had
That's
the Rapala
the only
for
reason why I would do it.
I've had a Rapala for 4 or 5 years.
And then for Tony's Christmas idea that I personally like myself as well is whoopsies.
So I'm gonna hit this quick because we got our buddy Tom on the other line,
Yep.
right? So Amped Outdoors. We've talked about a lot of batteries on this show. We know MillerTech makes a great battery. I would encourage you all to check them out. I will say,
I'm an Ionic fan.
I do think so. If you're running LiveScope, right? I use this as a LiveScope specific battery. I use the 30 amp hour battery. It comes with a charger. I got mine with the little mounting box so you can secure it. It's a great value. I spent like $300 end of day shipped on the 30 amp hour wide battery. Yep, there it is right there, Chad. Now I got some extras. You can just get the battery and the charger for $180 or $200. You don't have to get the little mounting plate. I really like it. I think it's been a great investment for me. I can run LiveScope all day. I don't have to worry about it. It's pretty affordable, and so far it's lasted. I know a couple guys have using this. Everyone's had a good experience so far. I like it. Check them out. Check out MillerTech. Check out Ionic. Check out Lifetime. Check out all the batteries out there. Make an informed decision. I personally really like this
Couldn't
brand.
you get a 50 amp hour Ionic for like $150?
No, they're like 300.
So
Are they 3?
Yeah, because my 100 amp hours were 700, so they're about half the price. But
check them out.
Ionic does make a 60 amp hour LiveScope battery. That's pretty cool. It's
wild.
it's like this thick. It's flat, so you can mount it on like a wall.
That's cool.
In
That's
your
awesome.
rod locker. It's like I think it's like $450.
Nice.
Pretty cool. I've been thinking about getting that over the winter.
So we got Tom on.
What's up, Tom?
Fishing the DMV in the house.
What up, guys? I
Sorry
like your
for
list.
that little bit of a delay.
No, you're fine. That got me to go binge Tackle Warehouse to see what'd be on my wish list.
There you go.
think it's a-
Dude, I love the
Gotta check
facial
out the
hair,
wish
man.
list, brother.
Tackle Warehouse has some good sales.
Dude, I
going
could
on
have
right
sworn we just talked to you like 2 weeks ago and you were like clean shaven. What happened?
I think I was on last week.
Yeah, so like it's been a week, bro. Like what happened? You on Roman or something? That's
Yeah,
awesome.
pretty
Good for
much.
you.
It's the good gear that actually gives you more facial hair.
Hell yeah.
A
Nice.
little glass of Moscato.
That's what
Yeah,
I'm
I
talking
just
about.
steal the wife's because I didn't have actually any tequila left in the house. We'll say that.
Don't tell her either. Make
hard.
her figure it out.
now. Tom goes hard in the paint.
Oh yeah, dude, you gotta go hard if you're gonna drink. I would think one gift. This is something I did this year, and I got a lot of extra money. Is get yourself one of those kayak bump boards for online tournaments because they do monthly tournaments. You can find on like the different sites. You could be fishing a normal tournament. You stick a 4 or 5 pounder, put it on the board, take a picture, and I won an extra $100 because it was big fish of the day. So I just flipped that out for my regular boat board. And if there's some monthly tournament that's going on that costs like $50, I'll just enter it. And if I'm out fishing a boat tournament and I crack a good one, I might just win.
That's a good
much-
idea.
Yeah.
I've thought about doing that for a while. I'm too cheap to buy one of those.
Dude, it's the future. I think as more and more groups start doing these month-long tournaments for better pots.
What is the difference between the bump board and just a regular
So,
fishing?
correct me if I'm wrong, but the online tournaments require you to use a special sort of bump board so that there's consistency among.
Pretty much. And for your viewers, I have one.
Ooh, bring it on.
Show and tell. So for most of these like online tournaments, they'll give you like a brand that's available.
Jason Stevens is my favorite. His has a Bassabee radio sticker on the front of it.
It does.
So this one's a Kitech board. As you can tell, it's massive, but it'll give you like
Catch.
to the nth and the inch on there.
Okay.
Because again, weight doesn't count; it's the length. So you want to make sure if you have a fish that could potentially win you $500, you get every inch on there. And all you do is you get your little code and you put it right there on the board. You take a picture of it so they can see that you're not cheating, and then you just send them the photo. And I've won a little extra bonus cash fishing boat tournaments just because I kept that in the boat with me. And okay, yeah, this one's 4 or 5 pounds. Let me just take a picture real quick, and boom, you'd win. So
So are there rules against doing that if you're in a boat tournament?
no, No, you can kayak tournaments. Nolan's brother, Erwin Miner, I think he won $20,000 in 2 days because he was at the Susquehanna and he fished 3 different kayak tournaments the same day. He entered all of them, took the picture, uploaded the different tournaments, and he won all 3. So
Interesting.
you have the ability to double dip. Again, you don't have to be a kayak guy. It's just a little interesting way to get yourself some bonus bucks.
Yeah, I like that. That's a great gift.
I like
That
that.
is a good. That's a good
good
point,
idea.
dude. I like that.
I could definitely
Like
throw one
at
of those.
all
in
times, like you could just be hyper. Like you could literally just be out fishing and just like catch a good one and be like, oh look, I remember that online freaking.
Well, yeah, a lot of those
tournament
online, a lot of those online tournaments are month-long tournaments, like
Yeah.
Thomas
Yeah,
was saying.
yeah.
So, like, you're just out fun fishing, you're just out. You enter that tournament, you're just out fun fishing. You catch a 5-pounder, throw it on the board, take a picture, enter it in.
Just out there throwing the old glide bait around.
Yeah,
Well,
that's
and a
perfect for
lot-
you because you know,
yeah.
that one fish you catch every trip
Yeah.
on the glide bait is going to be a big one.
And these
Notice I
big
said one fish on the
tournaments
glide, not one fish.
are
Period.
gaining so much popularity. I know Smith Mountain Lake has their Big Bass Bash, and now they're basically taking that online. And so you just basically know if you catch one that's over 22 inches, like, all right, well, that's a payday. So it just gives you something in your back pocket if you fish a bunch. That is really cool. And then definitely lithium batteries. I think that's a big one. No matter what your brand is, if you get your wiring in your boat dialed in correctly, you want 13 volts. Based on the people I've talked to, you need that crispy, clean connection. Get yourself lithium if you're going to be fishing a bunch. It'll make a huge difference with your forward-facing sonar.
I got a question
It
for
also
you.
makes a huge difference going, like, just speaking of lithium in general, on your trolling motor too.
Oh,
It's
yeah.
it's such a huge difference simply because your trolling motor doesn't get weaker throughout the day.
Yeah,
Even
and
if
then
you're on it hard, it's still going to give you the same power at 7 o'clock or at 1 o'clock in the afternoon as it did at 7 o'clock in the morning.
now, do any of you guys have a brushless motor? Because I
Yes.
don't. Okay,
I
Is there
have,
a
but I
diff-
haven't used it yet. I haven't even installed. I haven't even taken it out of the box.
Did you steal it? What?
I got the
he's
Quest.
He's waiting to put it on the boat.
Yeah, I just got it. It's in the box still.
I've been running Alltrex Quest all year.
And you see the difference? Is it worth the purchase?
It moves my big heavy ass Skeeter about 4.5 miles an hour.
Jesus Christ! Wow, that's impressive.
They're beasts, man.
4.2. I think about 4.2 if it's got a fresh prop on it, which my boats never have a fresh prop because I fish in 6 inches of water.
That's the thing about living around here, though. Like, you're not usually fishing 20 to 30 feet.
I don't have a fresh trolling motor prop, and I don't have a fresh big motor prop ever.
That was like the freaking tearing point for me. And like, do I want to get an aluminum bass boat? Should I just get fiberglass? And I was like, I fish so shallow all the time. I was like, I feel like an aluminum is just a decent. What's up, Matt? We got Matt Downs from Trick Tins in the house.
I will say something my friend got last year that I'm going to get on mine is Game Changers. Those steps to get on the damn boat.
Oh
When
my
you
god,
get
it's the
on and
best
off.
thing ever.
I don't have one, and I fish with a friend. Like, this is a wish list item for me.
They're expensive as shit.
Yeah, $300.
$300 for the steps.
Yeah, you can get a set
I
of
thought
steps
they
for
were like
$300.
900.
Oh, no, 300 is not bad, but it's such a simple thing. But my God, it makes life easier. At the end of the day.
I will say that's probably the one thing on my new boat that I love the most. Is the steps to get on and off. It's so much easier. You just walk up the steps and you step on the front deck.
Not
and
the
you're good to
fact
go.
that the freaking living space on your boat is just so much more giant.
Yeah, because I can like put a pop-up tent on my front deck. That's
Yes.
nice too. But and the fact that it runs 70 miles an hour, that's also nice. But the steps, I use the steps all the time, not just when I'm fishing. You know, obviously when I'm at home, I'm getting in and out of the boat, whether I'm wiring something up or I'm organizing tackle, and I use them so often. And it's so much easier on your legs, versus jumping out, because we all jump out of the boat, right? We don't climb out and step on our step by our fender like we should. We just jump out of the boat. Bad on
The
knees.
Garmin Force, the Garmin
So
Force is a badass.
I
freaking
use
motor.
my steps all the time. Love my step.
What would you guys consider, since I missed the first 15 minutes of your show, would be the number one gift that you think people should get this year?
A 22-foot bullet.
I think so. Two things that we mentioned.
I personally really like my scale idea. I think that's a fantastic gift for anybody.
A scale's always good because everybody likes to post their 7-pounder pictures on Facebook. with no scale.
It's nice to keep track of your fish as you're catching them.
I would say like for somebody who fishes a lot, the two things that I mentioned, good rain gear.
Yeah.
If you don't have good rain gear, you should have good rain gear, especially if you're fishing in cooler temperatures. You'll find it much more enjoyable. And a good life jacket. Good life jacket's always important. It doesn't keep in mind, too, that if you're fishing in the wintertime, you probably want to invest in a regular style life jacket, not just an inflatable.
Have both.
If I'm running, I'll wear a regular style, but I fish with my inflatable on the entire winter. Like,
Right.
I never take it. I just don't take it off.
You hit that water and go into shock.
Yeah.
Well, and if the wind's blowing, I mean, do you know how fast the wind can blow your boat away from you? You're not catching up to
Oh,
it.
yeah, you're
You know?
done, especially if you're fishing alone. Like, you got to do something. Or get the one thing I'm thinking I'm going to invest in either next year, I think I'm going to say about is the onesie that kayakers use because
Like a dry suit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I've seen so many people like demonstrate that if you jump off, you're going to stay alive. It'll keep you afloat. And I was like, you know what? If I fish alone a lot and it's like, I probably should do this, even though my wife would love getting the life insurance policy. It's probably to have something like that just as like, because even if you have the life preserver on, I think it was Jeff Little was telling me this, if you have too many layers on, like bulky crap, you could still get pulled down if you got boots and stuff. And like that was terrifying to
That's a good gift, Dustin. And you can take it and get what you want.
I'm actually going to expand on that for a second to say life jackets. Like a lot of these self-inflating life jackets have expiration dates.
Oh shit, that's true.
Like
They
if you have a life jacket that you've had for years, check the date. If it's out of date, get a new one. It's $50. It's not worth the risk. It's just not.
And for an inflatable, you always change that cartridge every year.
Yeah.
Like it's you want it to work when something happens. So just because it hasn't went off for 4 years doesn't mean that when it goes into the water now it's still going to go off.
Yeah.
So I will caveat Dustin's comment to if you want to get me a Christmas present, make sure it's a Susquehanna fishing tackle gift card.
Matt says he got the Milwaukee heated jacket. It's really nice. He said it's a game changer for winter fishing. I use the Milwaukee heated jacket at work personally, up on freaking cold ass rooftops. Oh
So,
man, that thing's nice.
I got two things.
I have a heated vest that I wear underneath.
I got two
amazing.
things for Tom. Tom, number one, what do you think about the Maryland Bass Nations state qualifying trail? The SUT is going to Big Slack in October.
So I talked to the guy that won Antietam Bassmaster Club the last 3 years in a row about that. And that's our home water. We fish that every year for Antietam Bassmaster like twice. It'll be interesting. It's a big stretch. I think it's like 8 miles of river that you can drive full board 60 miles an hour.
Really,
But
it's that big.
I didn't
It's
realize
that
it was
big.
that big.
I
But
didn't realize it was that big either.
It's narrow.
That's what she
It's
said.
very narrow. Yeah.
I didn't realize.
And-
So I didn't realize there was that much. So when I was talking to a friend of mine about that, we were kind of under the impression that it was just like a 2 to 3 mile stretch that you can fish out of a glass boat.
Come on up here. I live 5 minutes from it.
I would love to fish that with you.
I think it'd be
Yeah,
fun.
I'm not fishing the trail next year, but that's what I would. I love smallmouth fishing, dude. So
Yeah.
that's my jam. So
Every year, the last Sunday of October, they hold the Butch Ward event, and that's the event I won is actually up on there on Big Slack. It's a very
I've wanted to fish that tournament for a long time, but I just wasn't familiar with the water and what I could do there.
it'll teach you. It's kind of like your version of the Susquehanna, except it's not as deep. It's about 15 to 18 feet deep, most of the way, all the way straight up to where you get into the riffle water, which is jet boat only. And there's a lot of big smallmouth, but everyone there fishes it the old school style, the hair jigs, the jigs, Ned rigs and stuff. But if people get on the scope bite that I found up there, there is potentially 18 pounds, 20 pounds that you could find. The issue is it is so narrow in sections. A lot of boat traffic just scares the shit out of this smallmouth because it's only 18, 20 feet deep in some sections. So if there is, I don't know how many boats are in that tournament, 20, 30.
Maybe 30, about 30 boats probably.
Yeah, I would say 30 is pretty normal.
If it's 35 boats, they're going to move it to Deep Creek.
8 pounds to 12. It'll take 8 to 12.
8 to 12.
Yeah.
I think that's in that time that like
October.
first week of October, something like that.
Okay, yep. So they put it just before the Butch Ward tournament. So it'll be 8 to 12 pounds. You will catch probably 60 to 80 fish that are 11 and a half inches.
Sounds just like Conowingo.
Yeah, very similar.
It is asinine how annoying it is to just, and this is where the Bubba scale will come in place, because you just got to just ounces and ounces and ounces to try to just level up.
Sure.
But you can catch fish. If I needed to take someone to catch a smallmouth, Big Slack is where, because there is just an insane amount, but there's just not the 20-pound sack that's just readily available.
Sure. I mean, it sounds to me that it's very similar to Conowingo. It's just
Yeah.
we have a lot of largemouth in Conowingo too. So
Yeah.
usually when that smallmouth bite is off, you can catch big largemouth.
Which is interesting, because why wouldn't they go to Conowingo? It seems like the fishing there is better.
Nobody likes Conowingo. Nobody
yeah,
in the
I agree.
trail likes Conowingo.
And it's
Spoiled.
unfortunate because
So-
the place has capability. I mean,
They're
it
not
really
gonna like
does.
Slack after they go there.
Well, yeah. Well, see, I don't.
Conowingo is very versatile as a fishery.
It's like they'll go to Deep Creek, and you'll go to Deep Creek for like 4 years in a row, and it'll take 12 pounds to win, and like that's okay. But then you go to Conowingo, and it takes 10 pounds to win the tournament, and everybody's mad about it because they went to they schedule they always schedule anytime they have a tournament on Conowingo, the Bass Nation, they always schedule it in like late July when the fishing's the absolute worst.
Yeah.
It's the water. The water's 80, 85 freaking degrees.
Yeah.
And just everything sucks up there. So it's always been bad. If they scheduled a Conowingo tournament the same time that they schedule like Deep Creek, it would be good.
Oh, yeah.
However, here's another reason why they went there and not Conowingo is they have a tournament in each of the regions. So that's the Western region. So the Western region gets to choose like an area. The Northern region gets
like
to choose an
that,
area.
actually.
The Central chooses an area, and the Southern chooses an area.
They should have picked Jennings Randolph Lake.
So they were supposed to like they have changed it up a couple times. This year it was supposed to be on Yakagani, but there were some issues there.
There's no water in
They
there.
drew it down really early. Plus the drought conditions had it really low. Yakagani is a cool reservoir too, so they moved it to Deep Creek. So they usually have it at Deep Creek, and it's just because it works. There's ample parking. It's a good ramp, so they're
Yeah.
It's not a bad lake if you hit it at the right time. It gets a really like Champlain-y vibe with the boat docks, the grass, how this largemouth there will they act. I've been to Champlain so many times where like the way they act with boat docks, they will be in like zero water.
oh yeah.
And you can catch a largemouth there. It's
The
so
biggest fish, all of the biggest fish that I've ever caught out of Deep Creek have been in like under the walkways of the floating docks that you didn't think like there was enough water
Yeah.
Agreed. It's
for a
very
fish to be
weird.
under.
It
So
is very
you
weird.
skip a Cinco into a crack this big in between the pontoons on the floating dock, and the next thing you know, you catch a 3-pounder.
Yeah, it's
And
so
they-
weird.
they
And
boost 'em.
if they would just go to that place at a certain time of year, like they could have bigger bags. Like,
Well, the time of year that they do it. So 2 years ago, this year was a little tough because the water was so low. The water was low at Deep Creek, as well. Was it last year?
2022,
Yeah, 2022 or 2023. I mean, it was
17, 16,
18
yeah.
and 17 for number one, for first place and second place. Ed Riley he caught a 7.5 pounder, had 18 pounds.
Yeah, John Jedry
John
had
Edry had a almost 7-pounder. It was like a 690 and had 17 pounds.
Yep.
So there's, the time of year that they go out there is good, but I think the putting,
The
when you put
window is very small.
and you put that many, you put 30 boats on there, and the areas that hold fish get really pressured, and a lot of people are sharing fish, so you have to find something. You have to find something different, and sometimes that works, and sometimes it doesn't.
yeah. And that's one of the few places that fish is great in the fall. There are so many lakes that suck in the fall because that window for them to feed before it ices out is so quick. they put the feed bag on. I mean, it's not like they just shut off and they're like
Oh, yeah.
funky in like September, October. They eat. And so if you're a tournament organization that needs a tournament to finish out your schedule, go there in September and you'll catch fish. It's crazy how they just turn on getting ready for winter.
Oh, that's right. I forgot about that. Josh brought up a good point. They did go to Conowingo in June this year, but that's June. Keep in mind, Josh, that's June. Conowingo fish is really, really good in June.
Yes, it does.
So, but
I
yeah,
always think of Conowingo as like a cold season
for Deep
or
Creek,
like an early spring.
June is the best. June is legit.
yeah, for Deep Creek, I think pressure really has.
So I have a funny story.
But yeah,
so,
Conowingo. 1 second.
Yeah, no.
Just to talk to Josh here for a second. Yeah, Conowingo in June is great. If they scheduled more tournaments at Conowingo in June, you would see more bags like that. The problem is, in the past, I forgot I didn't fish the trail this year because I've just been too busy doing TBF tournament director stuff. In the past, they have that tournament in July and August, and Conowingo sucks that time of year.
Yeah, it does. It's not good.
June is fantastic.
A smallmouth, Little John.
So when
Yeah, Jason says
during
now is the best.
that tournament,
Yeah, for you, Jason.
that tournament that Josh, so that tournament that Josh was talking about was the day before me and Miles won the Open, and I saw Josh on the back of somebody's boat, and I was in an area, and I hooked one, and I let it swim. I did not set the hook, and I just sit there and just held the rod and let it do its thing, and it finally got off. And we went by, and they were asking us, "Hey, did you guys catch them?" You know, typical fisherman small talk. And I said, "Yeah, I just had one, probably 5.5. I let it swim. I didn't hook it. I know
it
you
off.
guys are fishing a tournament. I'm not hooking fish. I'm just looking. You know, I'm just doing my thing." And the boater that Josh was with, him and his boater won that tournament,
Yeah. Yep.
which was I thought was pretty cool. Right now, that area, and I won't say where, but that area was an area that I wanted to fish, but I knew the cat was out of the bag on that area, so I went and found other shit, and it ended up being better. Which, call it luck, call it whatever, but like that area where he was, him and his, I mean, I'm sure that, and Josh could agree or disagree, but I bet the best 5 fish in that boat were almost 20 pounds.
Oh, it was for sure.
And
Because
it's
I know Josh had one. I think that was almost 5.
Oh yeah,
Like yeah, I think he
there
had
were
one that was
some
like 4 or 3 quarters.
absolute hammers in that spot, and it just got pounded.
Is a good fishery.
It just got
Becoming more
pounded so
popular,
much
it's
that
a
we're
good
to the
fish,
point
yeah.
where I was just like, I'm not messing with this. So my second question for you, Tom. I went to Bass Pro last week. On my way back, I decided to make a pit stop. I stopped at Clark Lake, which is above Safe Harbor. Glass boats running all over the lake. What do you know about Clark Lake? Is it a hidden gem? Is it just like the other 50 sections of the Susquehanna?
Yeah, it is. It's a hidden gem. What makes the Susquehanna so freaking cool is kind of like the Big Slack thing, where you have these small, like swollen portions of a river system that back up a little bit, almost like is it a poor man's version of like the Mississippi, where you have the pools, basically, so to speak, because of the locks?
Pretty much.
I kind of think so.
Oh, okay, Josh. Josh said it was just shy of 4. I thought it was just shy of 5.
I bet you the best 5 were almost 20 in that boat. I guarantee it.
Well,
I guarantee
Josh
it.
said he won the big fish for that tournament. So,
Yeah. Oh, absolutely.
or maybe that was just. I think they do riders too.
We had a
Been a couple years.
Yeah, that's awesome. It's
But
a cool
I think-
place, man. So
What
Clark
would you
Lake.
consider a hidden gem? Clark Lake would definitely be up there as one of, I think, my hidden gems for Maryland. And it depends on what you're looking for. Are we talking largemouth, striper, smallmouth?
Smallmouth.
Smallmouth and
you're-
largemouth.
If you're
We don't care
talking
about
purely
anything else.
smallmouth, probably from White's Ferry down. White's Ferry down, because Maryland and Virginia suck and they shut down the ferry. There's only one boat ramp for about 10 to 15 miles. And it took 25 pounds of smallmouth to win 2 years ago.
Holy
25
Where was
pounds.
that at?
White's Ferry.
So
White's
down below
upper,
Brunswick.
upper Potomac.
Oh,
Yeah,
okay.
Upper
Really?
Potomac. The DWR has stocked it the last 5 years with smallmouth, that section, and it's showing. I caught I think it was a 22 incher in the middle of July, and I think in the tournament I'm running right now, somebody just put a 23-inch smallmouth across the scales for a month-long tournament. 20.
Oh, damn it. We lost Tom.
Freaking did it
It's
again.
gone.
And it's gone. Oh,